Do the numbers. It's not even close. You don't even need to worry about the end consumer. They're not even a factor. That's it. It's just between Amazon and seller. That's the case. It'll take you 5 to 10 years to win it, but you will win it. Guaranteed.
From an antitrust standpoint, I can tell you the needle that Congress or the DOJ or the FTC needs to thread. The likelihood of them being able to thread this needle, I give it like a 3% chance, and I think that's generous. The needle is this. If antitrust argument is that these tech monopolies harm a consumer, that argument will never work. It will not stick to them one iota. It won't work. These are free services that do create huge value for society, namely the consumers. And if we take a step back, the thing that we always talk about on the show, and we have talked about a myriad of times, is the platform business model. And the platform business model, by definition, has two customer groups, a consumer and a producer. And that producer is a seller on Amazon, it's a website on Google Search, it's a content creator on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, or it's a driver on Uber, and the list goes on, right? All of these businesses have asset-light business models. The inventory that their consumers are consuming isn't actually created by the business. It is contributed into the platform, into the business by third-party creators of value. We call them universally producers. So that means that the producer argument, right? If you say, who does Amazon make money off of? When I buy a product, and the latest stats we have from Amazon is that like 56 or 58% of the products you buy on Amazon are from third-party sellers. So when you buy 58% of the products on Amazon, it's coming from a third-party seller. Those 58% of the transactions, Amazon does not make money from you, the consumer. Amazon makes money from the third-party sellers. When I buy a product through Amazon via a third-party seller, Amazon is getting paid a 10, 15, 20% commission. So if I buy something for $100, Amazon is getting a cut of $15 from the third-party seller. So when you think about the flow of money is really from consumer to seller, seller to Amazon. Now, to me, that makes the seller Amazon's customer. And when you think about antitrust precedent over the past 50 years, what it says is, does a monopoly put the customer at a disadvantage? So there's two key tenets of this conceptual and both legal argument about antitrust for these tech monopolies. One is the producer, the supplier, is a customer. You need to establish that thread, right? Like I'm talking about. Seller is actually paying Amazon, therefore seller equals customer to Amazon. That's one. The other part of it then is you say, well, for the market that these customers operate in or, are within, that business has a monopoly market share. So for Amazon, when you add up the total GMV, right? So all the marketplace businesses, which Jeff briefly speaks to in the statement that he published last night. There's Amazon with 3P. These are the third-party sellers. It's not e-commerce. It's not a linear reseller e-commerce model. It's a marketplace model where that inventory is coming from third-party sellers. When you look at the landscape of marketplaces in the United States, and if you are a seller, you need to say, okay, what are the different channels that you as a seller can sell products online through a marketplace? And how big is that market? And how much of that market does Amazon control? Okay, so who are the major players in the 3P marketplace model? Amazon, eBay, Etsy, they list all those. Walmart, a relatively new addition, they list all those in their letter. You have some more boutique ones like Farfetch and RealReal for luxury goods. You have some private ones which are up and coming like GOAT and StockX, which we talk a lot about on the show. And then you have to say, okay, well, how much 3P third-party sales are flowing through all of these marketplace businesses in the United States, and does Amazon have a monopoly on that market? The short answer is yes, they actually absolutely do. By my estimation, they have over 70% of the 3P third-party sale market in the United States. eBay is all 3P. They don't really do 1P. They don't compete with their sellers. That's like a key value prop of eBay. I think eBay is maybe around $30 to $40 billion in GMV. Amazon in 2018 had $270 billion in total GMV, 58% of which was this third-party sale GMV, right? So you can kind of back out. If you say, okay, maybe it's like $170 billion for Amazon, roughly, and eBay is maybe around 30 or 40, and then you throw in some of the other players like Etsy, which I think is maybe doing like maybe 4 or 5, maybe now because of COVID, they're maybe trending closer to 5 or 6 billion in GMV annually. So if you say all the other players are maybe like $50 billion in GMV, Walmart doesn't disclose what is 3P versus, them reselling. I don't know, you do the numbers, it's not even close. You add up all the other players, they're not even close to $100 billion in GMV. And then you compare that to 170 from Amazon. Those numbers are a year old, by the way. Those numbers, by the way, are from the year of 2018 because they were published in Jeff Bezos' annual shareholder letter in April of 2019. We don't have the numbers for 2019 explicitly broken out. And we have total GMV, but we don't know what the ratio is of 3P to 1P. You run the numbers and you say, okay, well, Amazon actually definitely controls 60, if not more than 70% of the market for 3P third-party sales. And then you say, okay, what is Amazon doing to compete unfairly and to put these customers, the sellers, at a disadvantage? And there is a plethora of evidence supporting this. We've covered it on the show, how they will require their sellers to submit their purchase orders, and then you'll take the purchase order and then go directly to the manufacturer and cut the seller out of the deal. You can't do that. Predatory pricing, right? Taking the seller data, launching their own competitive products, or 1Ping the inventory so the seller can't sell at 3P. I mean, that's an easy case to make. And that's some of what the EU is investigating, is Amazon competing unfairly with their sellers. It's still not clear. I still think the EU is going to try and make this a three-way circus where they're going to say, yeah, you took advantage of the sellers, and then that ultimately puts the consumer at a disadvantage. My point is this: you don't even need to worry about the end consumer. They're not even a factor. All you need to say is a seller is a customer. Amazon is a majority, 70+% control player of the market for selling stuff through marketplaces online. Amazon competes unfairly against customers that are sellers. And that's it. It's just between Amazon and seller. That's the case. That's an antitrust case. Now, they'll win. You will win that. It'll take you 5 to 10 years to win it, but you will win it. Guaranteed. You cannot get distracted by the shiny object called the end consumer. You need to keep the end consumer completely out of the conversation. This is just a conversation about sellers and platform dominance. Oh, what would be some precedent for this, Alex? This thing called Microsoft in the 90s. What did Microsoft get in trouble for? Competing unfairly against other app developers, namely internet browsers. They wanted to promote Internet Explorer. There was Netscape and all these other browsers that Microsoft competed unfairly against producers, app developers wanting to build stuff on Microsoft, the operating system, the development platform. That's the only thing that has stuck in the past 20, 25 years against tech monopolies, is competing unfairly against supply. We had Tim O'Reilly on the show a few weeks ago talking about this exact same concept. When platforms hit monopoly scale, who do they take advantage of? It's not the consumer. It's actually the producer. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.